So welcome back, friends, to the next episode of the Common Man's, or putting together the Common Man's shop. We need to get some sort of a cohesive name for this, but I guess the underlying effort here, the underlying objective is taking back our life and time from disorganization and aggravation. All right, so today, this was requested by one of my subscribers, and it got me thinking, and it worked out perfect because it just so happened I had the very problem myself. He said, can you give some ideas on how to put some order and organization to the chaos of all of these straps and ratchet straps and motorcycle tie downs and bungees? I can sympathize. Every time I need to go to the dump or to take a load of firewood somewhere or this or that, I come to this massive tangled pile of, inside of this is the mystery of the universe, if you could ever untangle it. The unorganized pile of just all of this stuff. So I've given a lot of thought to this. I've come up with a system, and I'm going to share that with you today. What does it say about a guy that can get so excited about ratchet straps? You know, I'm really at my wit's end with disorganization, and so this to me may not seem like a big thing, but it's a great victory because I've fought with it for forever. I've never had my stuff organized like this in a thoughtful way. Okay, so what box is this? So this is, I'm going to Home Depot, I'm getting a bunch of lumber, I need to secure it. Or I'm taking a big load of stuff to the dump, I need to secure it. Or my friend has asked me to come help move a refrigerator, and it's raining and it needs to be covered and secured, and I need to take care of it. All that can be done with this one box. So what I've done is I've used these action packers. I can't stress that enough. When you start your organization projects, just factor these into the cost. And the cool thing about this is it doesn't cost you anything to do it. We've all got too much stuff, right? And you can go out there and start getting things in order now without spending any money. So maybe you have to save up to get a few boxes. You know, that's okay. Maybe you make your boxes or you just make do with something else, but find a place for everything. So this is all my ratchet straps. And so what I basically did, there's nothing new here, is I've just secured them with bungee straps, or these, what do you call them, Ranger bands. I took a motorcycle inner tube, and I cut it into 1-inch strips for the big ones. And then for the little ones, which I'll show you, I just took a mountain bike inner tube and the same thing, I just cut them into strips, 1 inch wide, and then stretch them around, and that way it keeps everything secure. And keeping them in the box, just be disciplined when you take them off, just throw them back in the box. That way you don't have to continue to make them and lose them, because if you put them on the ground, you never find them again. So I've got my big ratchet straps here, and I've got probably 8 or so of them. And that will pretty much give me the ability to do anything that I need to do with what I have to move. I mean, I'm not a long haul trucker. I mean, I can 4 straps is probably enough for most guys. Here's the clever bit, right? You want 2 tarps in the bottom. I've got a 4x4 and a 4x8 tarp that I folded just to fit the bottom, the footprint of the box, right? We're going to put those in first because we can grab this and go, and in any weather, at least we have something to cover up the load, and they don't take up any space, they fit in the bottom. Then I put my ratchet straps in, all right, no big surprise there. But one thing I thought might be a good idea is whenever I get somewhere and I have, let's say you have the truck and you've got a big load sticking out, you pick up some 2x12s and they're 12 feet long, they're sticking 4 foot out the back of the truck. You never have a flag. Some stores will have them for you, but what I've found that most of them don't. And so I found this red bag in the shop, which I've just used to tie onto loads, and a little remnant piece of duct tape. Why don't we just throw that in the kit? And that way, if we get something hanging out the back, we don't have to go ask someone, we've got everything that we need, we can tape that on there. Because if you have 4 foot, 6 foot of lumber sticking out the back of your truck and somebody doesn't see it, and they run it through their front windshield and you kill a couple people, well, you don't want that, right? And if hanging a flag can avoid that, then it's worth doing. And how far would it go if you were to put this flag on there really quickly, snap an iPhone photo, and if you were to have a problem, maybe, who knows what, how far would that go in the eyes of a judge or a jury, and that you did your due diligence, you made an effort, right? I think it would go a long ways. I think so that's why I included it in there. So the ratchet strap, so it's a grab and go kit, right? It's pretty handy. And we've got everything that we need. I had all that fitting in there, so nice. Okay, don't overstuff your boxes. And then now you've got a lid on it. So if you don't have a shop, or it's going to be in the back of your truck for a while, you don't have to have everything all wet, because you throw those in the back of the truck and it rains on them, they're going to mildew, unless you're going to take them all out and dry them out. But that right there is your Home Depot go to the dump, grab and go kit right there, right? All right. Now this one here is kind of the overflow, and I guess maybe the argument could be made that, well, I don't know. I tie lots of stuff down, so I couldn't fit it all into one. And I didn't want to fit it all into one because it becomes too heavy, and I don't need to bring all this extra stuff with me every time I go to Home Depot. And if I put it in a big box, I'm going to fill that box up, and then I'm going to have to have someone help me pick it up because it's so darn heavy. So in here, I'm going to keep my bungees. Sorry, I don't have a good way of keeping these organized. They're just kind of, they are what they are, but I put them on top. And in here are going to be all the smaller straps, primarily motorcycle straps for me, because I have a lot of that type of thing, and smaller straps. And these are secured. As I said, this is with the small band. That's just off of from the mountain bike inner tube. And if you don't have a used inner tube, it might be worth it to you just to go on Amazon and just buy a cheap one and cut it into strips. You get 50, 60 strips out of there. So that goes on there, and I just put my bungees on the top. And of course I've got a lid, so I don't have to worry about mice and everything getting in there. And that takes care of that really neatly. Now over here, this is going to be my lifting stuff. So what am I foreseeing with this? Well, something stuck, right? Guy gets stuck in the ditch. This has happened to me many, many times. I'm not going to grab these other ones. I don't need bungees for that. I need some heavy-duty lifting stuff. I need, that sort of thing. So I've got tree straps and single straps in here. Anything I have like that. I'm going to keep my receivers for my truck, for my trailers in here as well. So there's usually I have two balls. I have on the truck, I've got a 2 and 5 and then a 2-inch. And so I'll have those with a pin. Make sure you always have a pin. If you don't have a trailer hitch, right, or you don't have one of these, I would recommend you keep one of these pins in there for nothing else than a place to pull or have someone pull you. Because if they've forgotten their hitch, most people don't typically run these in the receivers, and you don't have any place to pull from. And so by having one of these in the kit, you can put that in there and you can run a strap, or you can get a chain through there. It's a great place to pull right there. I'm also going to have in here, I've been going through all of my shackles, so making sure that they're in good order. And some folks ask me how tight these need to be, that they've had trouble tightening them up, then after a load not being able to get them open. And I don't rightly know. There'll be some riggers in the comments that can say, but what I think is the case is bring it up and then back it off maybe a little bit before you put a load on it. And again, we'll have to double check that, but I think that may help with that. Another thing that's helped a lot is I've taken that anti-seize that we talked about the other day that we put on the jack to free it up, and I'm coating that on the threads. Bad side, it's going to get all over your hands every time you use them, but it does go in really nice for the ones that I've done that. So I'm going through, and when it gets a little bit warmer, I'm going to also take all these things and I'm going to uniformly paint them red, all a bright red, so that I know that they're mine. They do get mixed up, and I also less likely to leave one laying in the ground or on the grass, because I know I had more of these and I've lost some because of that. So I'm going to keep these in there as well, big and small. In addition to that, I'm going to have some chain repair deals. These are not a replacement for a broken link, but they can get you by in a pinch. They're nowhere near as strong as a welded chain, but they are handy for fixing things, and I have used them for a lot of, they're just handy to have. So if you have some of these around, it's a good place to throw them in. Now chains and binders are a whole nother video, but I'm going to keep one chain in here as well. And about the ideal length of chain is what I found is 12 foot. A 12-foot chain at 3/8. If you guys only going to have one and you're not a farmer and you're not doing lots of stuff with it, get a 10 or a 12 foot, 12's better, a 3/8 chain with 2 good hooks on it, and keep that in your kit too. Sometimes There's just, you can't account for it all. You just need to have it. So this is kind of all falling into the strapping stuff down, moving stuff, pulling stuff out of ditches. This is separate from our vehicle retrieval kit, which we'll talk about that here soon. But you get the drift, and it's all in one neat location. So let's go see how this fits neatly into our new organization system, and then we'll wrap it up. You see here, we're starting to get some traction. It's a little victory, but it's infecting the rest of the bench. If you're just joining me, this entire bench, as long as I've been here, 8 years or so, 7 or 8 years, has never been useful to me because it's just been a dump, just a clutter catcher for just discarded and broken things, and it was just almost an off limits. It's almost off limits to the shop because it was so heaped with stuff that I'm sure you can relate. Something that someone said in the comments this morning that I thought was so bright was he said the most important thing in your shop is space. And I sat back on it, and it was like hit me in the head. I'm like, yeah, that's true. We have this almost this built-in desire to fill up a space. If you disagree with me, just put an empty table on your house, around your house during a construction project and see how long it takes for a bunch of stuff to get. But we have this almost this desire to fill things up, and it is so refreshing. I mean, it's a great experience. You guys that have shops know that when you have taken your time to clean and organize stuff, and then you drive your truck in there, and you can walk around all three sides, and you don't have to like go through this habit trail of boxes and junk to get to something that you need. It's a pretty nice feeling. And so I agree. I think that's a really good principle to go by, is that the most important thing in the shop is space and not filling up everything with clutter. Perfect example, my old neighbor, Henry, bless him, he had a shop that he could probably only really utilize 1% of it. And he had a long bench that must have been 40 feet long, and it was entirely heaped and covered with stuff. And you can't even imagine. Maybe you can. And so when you need to go in there to do something, there was this little spot carved out there with a little vise, and that was it. And it was really aggravating. It was aggravating for him because he could never find anything, and all day was spent, looking through boxes and dumping stuff over. So that's what we're trying to avoid here, is to be able to come to a point and say, well, I have this or I don't, and I can make a decision, or I can have an answer immediately. Do I have enough bungee cords to do what I need to do? Do I have enough ratchet straps to help my buddy move his tractor, or chain binders, or what? You can walk to it and you can see I do or I don't. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to be going, where did I put that and who did I loan that to? So that's kind of what we're striving for, what we're going. So we'll do a little pan with what we've got so far, and then we'll wrap it up. Sabbath's coming. And of course, we kick this all off with the cribbing. So we've got our cribbing and our blocks and different things that we use all done properly. We've got some sawhorses and different things we put up there. Down below, we did the jack stands and the jacks, and got the jacks all functioning and everything serviced, as well as the bottle jacks. Got those over there. And then to the left, I'm working on come-alongs, pull-alls, anything that has to do with hoisting or lifting. I've got a lot of stuff for that because I had some heavy equipment back in the day, and we may or may not go into that. Of course, we've got some vehicle casters there for moving rigs around, and then our newest addition, which is our tarps and all of that. And I don't mind putting that stuff on the floor in a wet or damp environment if it's in those action packers, because that protects it from animals and from moisture, as long as you don't put it away in there wet. So what's next? Well, there's a whole bunch of work to do here. We've got chain binders, and we've got buckets of bolts and nails and all of that. So kind of what we're doing as we move to the left, when I come across something, maybe I look at this and think, well, here's a good example. So this is my 3/4 inch drive socket set. I've got pieces mix and match all over in different toolboxes. Maybe we look at, okay, that's the next hour's project, is we're going to go in here and go through it and see, do we have any deficits in there? That would be a good time to look through there and see, okay, well, I'm missing that 1 1/4 drive. Well, you know, either we find it or replace it, or we've got some tools that are good brand, you know, SK or Craftsman or Snap-on that are broken or need repairing. Well, that's part of the job when we set up to do this. Okay, well, I'm going to make sure that the 3/4 inch drive socket set is squared away and I have what I need. And if I need to call the Snap-on guy and make arrangements to, you know, make that happen, but go through it. If it's no longer of use to you, if you don't need a 3/4 inch drive socket set, well, it's time for it to move on to someone that can, because you don't need it cluttering up your life, and you don't need to be moving it and just having to deal with it. It's not something you're going to use. So, yeah, I know it's a hard thing. Where do you stop with this? You know, saving for a rainy day and all of that. But you have to ask yourself, am I ever really going to, you know, put that together and to fix that? Am I ever going to do it, or am I just deluding myself? Am I fooling myself? Well, be honest with yourself. Like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm really not really into it. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. Get it out of your life. Move on and move on to the next thing. So that's it. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Can't think of anything else to say. All right. Click the thumbs up if you guys are enjoying these videos, and we'll see you guys on the next one.